Buying a used car can be tricky. As somebody who's sold hundreds of used cars, I've sold good ones and bad ones. Here's some things that I would personally look for when trying to buy a used car. There are some things that require no mechanical experience that can save you thousands of dollars if you look at before you commit to buying the vehicle. And here's how even a penny can save you thousands of dollars when buying a used car. Let's get into the video. So the first thing I would always check when buying a used car is check all the lights on the vehicle. Lights are really expensive to replace in cars these days, so I would make sure I turn the lights on, and then I would visually check that the lights work. If you have somebody with you, this is a little bit easier. So if you had a salesman with you, or you had a friend with you, you make sure the lights work. Those high beams working? Then we're gonna check the brake lights, so whoever's with you will go to the back of the vehicle, make sure the brake lights work. Those brakes working? You also want to make sure the lights on the inside of the vehicle all work. Always check the lighting. Let's check out the next thing. Something that's always overlooked when buying a used car is making sure the heat and air conditioning work. A lot of people buy a car in the summer and then they don't find out that the heat works until the wintertime and they're screwed because they didn't catch it up front, or vice versa. You're buying a car in the winter like it is now and you don't check the heat. It's super simple and easy to do. All you basically have to do is turn the heat all the way up, turn the fan speed all the way up, make sure it's coming out where you want it to. Just use your hands and you can tell if the heat's getting warm or not. Yep, the heat works. Let's check the air conditioning. Pretty much every used car has a max AC button. Just hit that. Make sure that gets cold. Yep, that gets cold. Always check the heat and AC when buying a used car. Let's check out the next thing. Used cars these days have more features than ever, and I highly recommend taking the time to make sure every single feature works. For example, you want to make sure the folding mirrors work if it has folding mirrors. Check the electronic steering wheel. Check these seats. Make sure the power seating works on everything. Make sure the heated seat works. Make sure the panoramic roof works and the shade opens and the glass opens and closes. You guys get the point. Check every single feature on the car, because as a car salesman, sometimes I sell a car and then the customer doesn't use that feature for months and then they say it doesn't work, and is it our fault? Is it their fault? Did it work then? Who knows? You need to check every single feature. It's tedious, I know, it's annoying, but when you're going to buy a $15, $20, $40, $100,000 pre-owned vehicle, you want to make sure everything on it works. When you're test driving a vehicle, one of the things that you can do that requires no mechanical experience is just drive the car over a couple bumps. Make sure see if there's any rattles in the vehicle, see if there's any squeaks. So we just hit a bump there, there's nothing. This isn't your car you're driving, so don't be going super fast over bumps, but it is totally appropriate to drive over a few bumps with the vehicle just to make sure. Every car is going to drive good on smooth pavement, but not every car is going to drive good over some bumps, and that will really expose any issues with the suspension or anything else with the vehicle. A lot of people want to crank the radio up and listen to the music. Don't do that when you're test driving a car. You can check out the stereo back at the dealership or wherever you're buying your used car. This is where you hear the car, hear the engine, hear the suspension. So when you're test driving the vehicle and you want to check and make sure the brakes and rotors are okay, I highly recommend taking the vehicle to some type of hill, going down the hill and hitting the brakes. And if you feel the steering wheel vibrate, that means the rotors aren't even and they either need cut or replaced. And this could also mean you have bad brake pads. Look, this advice is for people who have no mechanical experience, so we might not know exactly what's wrong with the car, but we can at least identify there is something wrong with the car. So we're going down the hill, I'm gonna hit the brakes. And if you look here, the steering wheel is not really moving at all, other than the road's a little crown, so it's pulling me to the right. But if this steering wheel was vibrating really bad, that would need that the brake pads and rotors either need replaced. Maybe the rotors need cut. Remember, this advice is not for people who know anything about mechanics, so you're not gonna say you know what's wrong with the car, but you can say, hey, these brakes, there's something wrong with them, they need looked at. Did you know over half of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? It would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 150,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Let's get back to the video. And here's a bonus tip for you guys, because I love you. This is what I would think is common sense, but you want to walk around the vehicle and make sure there's no damage. Now, these are used cars, so it might be damaged, and you might be okay with the damage, but before you sign on the dotted line and take possession of a used car, you want to at least know if there is damage, and you might be okay with it. But if we walk around this car here, I mean, it's in pretty good shape. It's a used car. It's like 60,000 miles on it, but like this wheel's curved. And if we come look at this wheel over here, this wheel is also curved. And I'm not saying you might not be willing to buy this vehicle, but there's a big road rash on the wheel. We want to walk around the body of the vehicle. Make sure there's no damage. Take your time and really look at the vehicle, because some people just buy a used car and then a month later they find damage on it, and then it becomes an argument with the dealership and the customer of was the damage there, was it not there. Always check the car inside and out with a fine-tooth comb before you buy a used car. Let me show you how a penny can save you thousands of dollars when buying a pre-owned vehicle. This is to check the tires. My grandfather taught me this trick. You take the penny, you put it upside down, and you insert it into the tire tread. If the tread touches Lincoln's head, Abraham Lincoln's on the penny if you didn't know that. If it touches Lincoln's head, that means that the tires are at least good and roadworthy. So if we put this penny into the tire tread here, you can see it goes well below or well above Lincoln's head. If the tread had looked something like this, then the tires do need replaced. So always have a penny on you. I think they're getting rid of the penny. I think Trump just said that. So save these, because these can save you thousands of dollars. Buying a used car doesn't have to be hard, and it shouldn't be. Use this advice I just gave you, regardless of what used car you're looking at, and I promise you, you will save money. Either check out my most recent video or check out my podcast. And for more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button.